Hey, hey! So, after talking with a lot of you guys over the last several months, I decided to put together some videos based on my perspective and approach to decorating and design. So, here we are with the first video of the way I see it. Now, before we get started, I want to let you know a couple of things. This is not going to be your stereotypical decorating series where I share all the latest trends and the rules, where I tell you which trends to follow and which rules you can break. You can find a lot of that out there from some very qualified people. And I'm also not here to tell you who to follow or who's doing it right or wrong. So, what am I here to do? I'm simply here to share the way that I see certain aspects of decorating and design, and then invite you to potentially consider a different approach to yours. My hope is that as I share my decorating lens, you'll feel more confident in your own. There are a lot of opinions out there on what a home should look like, how it should be decorated, how to achieve a specific style, and which style you should choose for right now. Honestly, I do think we can learn a lot from each other on that. But the way I see it, a home is more than a structure. It's where story and life come together. And creating a home is a lot like creating a life. We all start with different experiences and priorities and stories of our own. So it makes sense that our homes would look a little different for each of us. It should. Our homes should reflect those who live within them. For years, I did what I think a lot of people do. I saved photos, collected inspiration, pulled ideas from magazines and Pinterest or anywhere else I could get them. I'd save images of furniture or art or paint colors and sometimes entire rooms. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that approach. I still recommend people do that today before they start decorating a space, and I still do that myself. But sometimes I think we get too focused on recreating a specific look that we forget to create a home that looks and feels like us. So we get the look we're after from the inspiration, but for some reason it just doesn't feel like we had hoped it would. So why is that? I wonder if it's because we're decorating backwards. Maybe it's the season of life I'm in, but I find I'm slowing down some and I'm shifting my approach to decorating and design a little bit. I'm asking myself specific questions and I'm forcing myself to actually answer those questions instead of simply throwing furniture in a room or art on the walls and calling it a day. In fact, I started using this approach before we began building our home. It actually shaped the floor plan as I was designing it, and it's still shaping my decorating today. I'm being more intentional about the whole space and the whole design. Now, granted, this is taking me a lot longer than it used to, but for me, it's actually worth it. I find that it's helping me create a home that feels more personal and more authentic, a home that's telling our story. So how am I doing this? Well, the way I see it, we often focus on the pieces before we think about the purpose. So the shift for me has been pretty simple. Before I choose the pieces that I want to use in a room, I take a step back and I ask myself a few questions. How do I want this space to feel? How will I use this space? What's its role? What kind of life do I want it to support? That's what I mean by purpose. So knowing the purpose helps clarify the whole space. And for me, that looks like atmosphere before aesthetics, function before furniture, and life before layout. Those are not steps, by the way, and they're not rules. They're simply examples of knowing the purpose of a space before you choose the pieces for it. The space's atmosphere helps shape its aesthetics. Its function helps determine the furniture. And the life you want to live in it helps inform its layout. I'll touch on these more in upcoming videos. And remember, I'm not saying to quit gathering inspiration. Inspiration is great, and for me, it's actually necessary. But I found that when I spend more time thinking about the purpose before I choose the pieces for our space, our home begins to feel a lot more like us. The inspiration is still there, but now it's helping tell our story. So the next time you're working on a space, I'm encouraging you to take a little extra time to think about its purpose before you bring in the pieces. How do you want it to feel? How will you use it? What kind of life do you want it to support? The way I see it, it's purpose before pieces. I would love to hear if that shift in perspective helps you create a home that feels more like you. Chat soon.